In today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at the Model 37 shotgun. This is something that has been brought to the game with the recent 6.0 update and is a weapon that you can easily get hold of in Battlefield 5. In fact, DICE accidentally released this alongside the M2 carbine free for everybody to pick up and play with. You would have otherwise had to level up a little bit through the tides of war and then gain it that way, but thankfully we can just jump in and use it. However, the Model 37 shotgun is probably not a weapon that you really want to be using all that much. Now, since the 5.2 TTK changes, a lot of things have been altered, especially with time to kill and the damage drop-off past a certain amount of meters, probably around 10 meters for shotguns, 5 or 10 meters. And this essentially means that where you could previously take out an enemy who was a little distance in front of you with maybe 2 shells, now it's very, very difficult to do. Through this video I'm going to explain why. I'm going to show you a couple of graphs with the damage drop-off and maybe the correct specialization tree for this shotgun. It's not exactly a cut and dry decision, to be honest, with this M37. There are a few different ways you can opt to use it. However, I will say one thing. I found this weapon to be incredibly inconsistent and not a weapon that I would suggest using at all unless you are just somehow a god with shotguns. So starting out, the Model 37 does look okay on paper. It has less spread than its two competitors, and with its competitors we would be looking at the 12G automatic and then the M97 shotgun. I don't think the drilling's really fair to compare to it because it's kind of its own thing. A lot of people prefer the drilling anyway, no matter what you could do with this new shotgun. The Model 37 also does more damage per pellet within 5 meters at 11 damage per pellet instead of the 7 damage that the 12G and the M97 shotgun deal out. This would mean that the shotgun itself would be stronger, of course, within that 5 meter range. The big thing with shotguns though are the spread of the pellets. Where are they all going? With a slug, they're going in one direction like a bullet, they're hitting the target and then the damage is dealt. With buckshot, the pellets are spreading out, so depending on how close you are to the target, or in this case what specializations you pick, it might not be as good as you think it could be. In terms of the specializations, and this is where videos like this can be very useful for people who are just starting out with the weapon, I would suggest taking the quick reload, but the penetrating shot might be decent, and I'll show you an example of why it could be decent later on in the video. I think the faster reload though is really important because you will find yourself spamming with this weapon quite a lot. I then think going for slings and swivels alongside an extended magazine is again very important. The extended mag gives you that opportunity to blast a few more enemies or the same enemy if you're struggling to kill them, and then the swings and swivels will decrease your deploy time. Again, very important if you're looking for that speed increase, I suppose, with a shotgun in close quarters. The extended mag obviously giving you 7 shells instead of 5 is a nice boost. On the other side you could choose bayonet and trigger job. The bayonet of course gives you the opportunity to spear an enemy player, which is always entertaining but probably not optimal, and then a faster fire rate upping the base 149 rounds per minute to 179 rounds per minute is again a bit of a nice boost. According to the stats, the Model 37 is actually the fastest firing shotgun if you exclude the M30 drilling from the equation. Finally though, you get to choose from the internal choke or heavy load, and this is where your real decision has to be made. Internal choke will reduce your hipfire spread while standing and moving quite significantly, meaning more of your pellets will hit the target. Again, I have an example running in the background for you to see this. This gameplay is using the internal choke and I'm just shooting a target. It's just a wall, you can see the pellet spread, and it's almost like I'm firing a slug at certain ranges. This again means that your pellets are going to be hitting the target, dealing more damage, and that's what you want, as I said with the shotgun, as many pellets to hit the target as possible. Your inconsistent damage numbers usually start to appear when you're moving when shooting or you're not aiming properly, and most of the reticle, or at least the pellets, are missing that target you're aiming at. The other option is to go for heavy load. Heavy load will increase that maximum damage by a few meters, meaning you might be more effective in close quarters just outside of that initial 5 meter 11 damage per pellet range. This potentially could mean that you could get that really satisfying one shot on an enemy just up to 7 meters, potentially maybe 8 meters. That's really cool, But you've also got to remember that it also depends on the spread, so are all your pellets hitting? They'd have to hit in order for that to work. I'm still undecided, to be honest. I was really hoping that jumping on and having the internal choke would make this weapon quite decent ADS at around 10, 12, 13 meters, something like that. It didn't seem to be the case. It seems to do around 10 more damage at this kind of 10 meter range. It's alright, but if you're not one-shotting players, you're going to have to hit them twice. You might as well just hit them twice without the specialization. So I don't really like that as much as I potentially could. And then the heavy load, again, doesn't really seem to do a whole lot of damage or make a whole lot of difference to the way I play. Personally, if I was being forced to pick, I'd go for internal choke because the weapon does seem to be slightly more consistent with that specialization. I've noticed a lot of people spamming this weapon in order to get the kill, and I guess you can do that considering the faster rate of fire and just the fact that you want to get the kill, so you spam as many shots as you can, hopefully managing to take out the player. It seems very inconsistent, and I wouldn't suggest doing that. It's one of those weapons where you really do need to play the right objective on the right flag and tailor your gameplay towards it. If you're playing on Iwo Jima and you're trying to shoot people at 10, 15, 20 meter ranges, which isn't that far, but for this shotgun it just won't work, you've got to pick something else. This weapon is for Operation Underground, it's for Marita within the buildings, it's maybe for any map if you're just in a building exclusively, which, I mean, some people might choose to play that way. It's not for maps where you're shooting over range. It just isn't going to work that way. Take the drilling with slugs, or maybe just pick a different weapon altogether. So as I said, we'll be taking a look at some examples in the background. Here I'm playing on Wake Island in a community server that took forever to manage to get to work because you know they're not actually that great. I'm shooting a player here using the usual setup with a shotgun, no specializations here, and as you can see, it's fairly inconsistent past around 5 meters. It's 2 shots to kill, and headshots don't really work. Now I've switched it up so I have the internal choke. This is slightly better. As you can see here, I'm doing around 90 damage just outside of its one-hit kill range. Pretty decent. This time I'm using the penetrating shot, as you see at the top right of the specialization tree. I've got 2 players in front of me. I shoot them, kills the first guy, nearly kills the second guy. Not exactly ideal, but he is taking some damage behind. There we have another example, and within that 5 meter range you will kill 2 people. That's the reason to take that penetrating shot. It can actually be pretty decent. Now examples in the background of using the internal choke on a wall in the background so you can just see exactly what the spread is like. Hip firing within around 5 meters. Look at that, it's like you're firing a slug. I wasn't sure if it was a bug at first, but maybe that is just the effect of the specialization. Standing a bit further back, ADSing, and again you can see that the pellets are all very, very close together. This could potentially be a bug, but maybe it is the way the weapon works. Hip firing again, just some examples in the background. It seems as if this is the way to go, to be honest. All your pellets will be hitting the target. Switching it out so we use the heavy load, more importantly than the advantage of gaining that additional one-hit kill range, in terms of this experiment, you're just going to be seeing the weapon without that internal choke, and the spread is definitely there to see. If you're really close, of course, everything's close together, but if you're standing around 5 meters, there's more spread, and you can see the effect of that. It's up to you really what you do. Make your own judgments, have your own experiments on whatever you want to do really, but I would say that for me this weapon is not worth taking in the first place, and if you are going to take it, extended magazine and then internal choke. So thanks for watching this video. If you did enjoy, leave a like down below. If you didn't, of course, you're free to leave a dislike. Hopefully there will be some more weapon reviews coming soon. I'm actually trying my best to enjoy Battlefield 5, as weird as it sounds. I don't really enjoy the game as maybe a lot of others do. I feel as if it still has far too many bugs a year into release, but there are certainly some things in there that I can get my teeth into, so testing certain weapons, having some fun with my friends and just trying new things, new vehicles, new loadouts, and just maybe annoying enemies with the new lunge mine and things like that. So we'll see what comes in the future. Lots of Battlefield 4 content coming soon as well, so hopefully you'll be around to see some of that. Leave your opinions of the Model 37 down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.